Good day, grade 10s, and welcome back to another lesson in geography. In this lesson, we're going to focus on how to read and interpret weather elements on a synoptic weather map. So there's a couple of things that are essential that you need to know about reading and interpreting the synoptic weather map. You need to know the skill and master the skill because it is important for not only grade 11, but also your grade 12 content. So let's have a look at the example that's in front of us. So the first thing that I notice are my isobars. Isobars refers to lines that's joining places of equal atmospheric pressure. So that means all along this line over here, the atmospheric pressure equals each other. So here it says 1008 hectopascals or millibars. And if I follow this line, it means all along this line, the atmospheric pressure is the same at 1008. Then this over here is a coastal low. It's very easy to identify. The L indicates that it's an area of low pressure, and then also the location, which is along the coast of Southern Africa, hence the term a coastal low. Then South Africa is dominated by three high pressure cells. So the South Atlantic, which is found in the Atlantic Ocean, or just west of Cape Town, is an area of high pressure. Now, it's important that you distinguish between your high pressure and your low pressure. In the southern hemisphere, low pressure rotates clockwise. In addition to that, the air in a low pressure system is also rising. That means low pressure is often associated with more warmer air. Then our higher pressure is associated with anti-clockwise, meaning it's going in the opposite direction, and it is associated with descending or sinking air. So your high pressures are generally associated with a colder temperature. The cold air is more dense, therefore it sinks. This over here is a cold front. So Cape Town especially experiences a lot of cold front, brings a lot of rain, and it is just part of a larger weather system known as a mid-latitude cyclone. This over here is a weather station, and we'll look at that a bit more in detail in our next slide. Then to the east of South Africa, we find our South Indian high pressure. It's one of the three high pressure cells. So here we have our South Atlantic high pressure found off the west coast, and over here we have our South Indian high pressure found off our east coast. Again, it's just an area of high pressure, and it brings about clear sunny skies. Then the next thing is our isobaric interval. So if you notice, the isobaric interval is just referring to the difference between the two isobars. So here we have 1016, here we have 1012, here we have 1008. So which means the difference between them is 4 hectopascals. This over here is a tropical cyclone. It just gives us an indication as to what season we are looking at. And tropical cyclones occurs in summer. Then a tropical cyclone is a low pressure system, so which means it has low pressure characteristics. It rotates clockwise around the low pressure. It's also associated with rising air. Then this is our weather station model. So it's important that you guys are able to interpret the information. So there's about 5 weather elements that's indicated on this weather station model. So the first thing is our cloud cover. We look at the center of our weather model. So these are what you're going to have to remember. So we get an eighth, a quarter, a half, 3/4, and overcast just means it's extremely cloudy. Then we get our air temperature or the maximum temperature for that day. And at the bottom over here, we get our dew point temperature. Then in the center, that represents our precipitation. So think back to our previous lesson where we spoke about the different forms of precipitation. We get fog, drizzle, rain, thunderstorms, showers, and snow. Again, it's important that you recognize based on the symbol. So in this instance, we are experiencing rain. Then these little feathers over here represents the wind speed. So the half one or the smaller one represents 5 knots. A full length one represents 10 knots, And then here we have a full length and a half one, so which means it's 15, 10 plus 5. We can have another full one, and then it's 10 and 10, which is 20 knots. Then the last thing that you guys must be able to identify is the wind direction. So important when you guys trying to determine the wind direction, just to draw a little compass and then check which direction it is pointing towards, and that is your answer. So over here, it's pointing in a southeast direction, so which means my wind direction then is southeast.